Welcome to Paranormal Gateway Paratalk. I'm your host Scott Wise, and joining me this evening is the other host, Melanie McIntosh.
Bill Slevin is our guest tonight. He is the founder and lead paranormal investigator of the Paranormal Existence Research Society, based out of Coral Springs, Florida, with teams in Florida, Nebraska, the United Kingdom, Italy, and Greece. Bill is an empath and has always been fascinated by the paranormal since he was a kid, dealing with his own experiences, and has worked in the paranormal field for well over 30 years with many paranormal experts from all over the world. Bill is an expert in residential hauntings and has been part of well over 500 residential investigations, helping those in need, and has dedicated a lot of time to helping people looking for answers over the years. Bill can be seen on TV, radio, podcasts, magazines, and newspapers all across the world. His current project is on the Travel Channel called The Devil's Academy, also streaming on Discovery Plus. Bill was also on the cover of the American Paranormal Magazine for March of 2023. Bill is also the regional director of the Southeast U.S. and a director of development for the Warren Legacy Foundation for Paranormal Research, founded by Chris McKinnell, the grandson of Ed and Lorraine Warren. This foundation is dedicated to helping people in an ethical and caring way. The foundation consists of many experienced and educated people in the paranormal field all across the country and the world. Bill loves to learn as much as possible about the paranormal science and is dedicated to helping further the paranormal industry. Bill is a parapsychologist currently working on his PhD in parapsychology, paranormal science, and metaphysical humanistic science. Bill is also a demonology specialist, being part of many dark and demonic cases. Bill has been in the technology field as well for over 30 years and is an expert in technology, including photography and CCTV cameras. Bill is also a paranormal educator and public speaker who loves to educate the public about paranormal and the unknown. He and his team can be seen at various libraries, conventions, schools, and other public events all over the U.S. So, without further ado, let's welcome Bill to the show.
I should have cut that back for a little bit. I think. Oh, sorry about that, Bill. You want to take a break now?
There's nothing wrong with talking up our guests. I don't mind.
Thank you for that intro.
Oh my. Yeah, I'll have to cut that back this time. I didn't even think about it. What should done is I'll do for orders. I'll do a timer and I'll read myself, and see how long it takes. And I want to put Mel through that again.
Well, I don't really mind.
But he's done a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about a lot tonight.
Yes, thanks for having me on.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Well, you want to share some personal experience that got you into this?
What got me into this? Well, when I was really young, I had a lot of my own personal experiences. But again, like I've said before many times, when I started, it wasn't out in the open that much. So people didn't talk about it a lot. So when I was experiencing things, there wasn't a lot of people I could talk to, and I didn't know what it was. I found out later on in life that I was an empath, and it makes sense for the things I was feeling back then, whether it be at a place that I maybe had some kind of haunting in it, or even just from people, in my family. When we're at a family party, I would feel their emotions, their energy, and I didn't know what it was back then. And again, couldn't really talk to anybody. So it kind of made me interested and to try to find out as much as I can about what I was experiencing and what was real, what wasn't real. And that's kind of how my journey started until I was able to actually get on a real investigation. Most of the time I was on my own and reading as much as I could.
So the empathic abilities, explain how that helps with when doing terminal investigations.
As an empath?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for me, I'm not a psychic, I'm not a medium. I've never even really attempted to open up my senses to that. But as an empath, I go in and I walk around and I try to see what I could feel. I could feel emotions and I can feel energy. So I'll usually, most of the time, I do know what's going on. Like when we're doing a residential case, I'll know what's going on in the home. Some of my teammates, I won't tell them, let them see what they feel without knowing. But it helps me, along with our equipment and everything, to try to see what I can feel from what area.
Okay, I got a schoolboy dog. Hush. Hear him barking in the background. Well, with over 30 years' experience in the paranormal field, what are some of the most memorable cases you've had?
Well, anything that I was called into that was demonic is
Oh,
always
yeah.
going to be your most memorable cases ever, because that is stuff that never leaves you. You will never forget it. Um, but then on the other side of it, there's a lot of cases I've had where we've really helped the families. When you see a family who's like really, really scared and they have kids, especially when there's kids involved, and everybody's frightened, and you could go in there and either tell them there's nothing there or help them get out whatever's in there, just to see the relief on some of these people's faces, that they could actually, live in their home without fear. Those
Mhm.
are, so can be some of the most memorable things alongside the scary stuff. Some, like I've said, on other uh, things, probably the craziest one to me was my first investigation, my first residential investigation. Once I was asked to help a team that needed, an extra guy that night because one of their guys was sick, and it was a full on demonic case that they didn't know was demonic until we got there. And one of the guys next to me got full on attacked with 3 scratch marks from his neck to his spine, right in front of
Wow.
us, and it's one of those things where I say either you're gonna run from this and never do it again, or for some reason, like me, it made me more interested. I wanted to learn, like, why did it attack him? Why didn't it attack me? What was it doing there? How I didn't know anything about demonology back then, so I didn't know this was a demonic case. I just knew it was something bad, and they were gonna have to get clergy involved, and because it was a pretty bad case. But later on, I learned about the fact that his scratches were like razor blades. And
Uh,
when I started studying about demonology, you learn that demonic scratches are like razor blades. They're not like a wide scratch. It's a very thin scratch. They're always in threes,
mhm.
mocking the Holy Trinity. And that's what he had. He had 3 scratches from his neck to it. Now, I always say if that was done now and it was with a team like that of people I didn't know well, I wouldn't believe it. I would have
Right.
thought it was rigged somehow or something. I would have been checking everything, but back then it wasn't publicized. It wasn't talked about. There was no, YouTube followers. There was
Right.
nobody to get with that story. So, I don't think it ever left that house.
Well, I kind of like the Sally case. Remember Sally, the ghost of the scratch that case
Right,
years
right.
ago?
Mm-hmm.
The Sally house. Yeah,
Right,
that's
right.
many years ago. He had like razor blades down. He's older than her too. Now, over the past like 15 to 20 years been doing this, we have made 2 cases with scratches, and the one was a apartment in New York County, whatever, the second floor apartment. It's a rural old building, and some people say Ouija boards are okay, some say they're not. Well, their teenage girls are fooling around,
Mm.
and then see right there and here the father out there got scratched, and
Mm.
there's 3 streets down his back. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, we told them that we can't really do anything about that because we're not clergy, we're not. So we told them if they have to, go to church and find someone who come bless their house, or like I don't
Right.
know where in PA they can find a demonologist or look around enough. They can probably find somebody who can go out and help them, but
Right.
I'm not sure. But that we told you, we told them, why the hell are you doing something that dumb?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, with what's funny with scratches, and she Stephanie worked with me at the Warren Foundation.
Hi, Steph. Thanks for tuning
um
in.
with scratches, it's funny because you get a lot of people You'll see them on Facebook and all these places. I'm in a lot of groups where I try to, help people when they have questions, but you'll get a lot of people that I got scratched. And, you know, I would say 90% of the time it's you scratched yourself in your sleep. You scratch. That's why
Yeah.
it's very, very different, obviously, when a demon does it. But
Right.
even a ghost, I've seen people that were scratched and we couldn't figure out where it came from, how it, what it was exactly. Could it have been a ghost? It could have been, but I've never confirmed what a full on scratch looks like from a ghost, because the only ones I've seen in front of me happen were on the demonic cases, you know? So
Mhm.
it's a little different because you kind of see it, where most of the time when you see people that have scratches, most of them are just saying, "Hey, I woke up with the scratch." They're showing you pictures.
All
They're
right.
showing, you know, they
All
don't
right.
have it.
Maybe to trim their nails.
Yeah, exactly.
Then go sleep and see what happens next day. Huh? No, no new scratches.
It happens a lot. It does. I mean,
Oh,
you're in
I
your
know.
sleep, you
I
never
I can
know, and
imagine. Yeah. Everybody wants to believe it's demon.
yeah,
Like I said, with the fire cases you've had, you probably had quite many ones that you did. But there's some shows on TV. It's always demon this,
hmm
demon
the,
that, and I'm over that because I think there's demons and there's bad spirits. They want to cause trouble.
right.
You know, those type.
Well,
That's
demons,
that's how I feel about it.
right? But demons are real, but they are very rare.
Hmm.
It's not like what TV explains to you and stuff. They are very rare. Um, yes, spirits can be cranky. I don't know if I'd say they're evil, but we always say if somebody was cranky when they were alive, I'm sure they're even
Yeah,
more cranky when they're dead.
yeah.
So, and if they're stuck around here for any reason, I'm sure they're not happy.
I have to. No, no. I have had plenty of investigations where you would go over your AVPs and you're being cussed at. Being called the F word upon
Yeah,
FBITCH, and so I get that quite a bit. Certain
yep,
places we go, and most of the time we go back to the same place. You know, sometimes there'll be one say, "I love you" already on it, and they're others are cussing out.
right.
So,
And
I mean,
maybe,
all ten locations, I guess.
yeah, yeah. There's different places. I've been some places where they're just always not happy with you,
Mhm.
no matter what, who it is, who's talking. And sometimes we'll see that they don't like the females or they don't like the males. It
Right,
depends on where you are and who they are, I guess. I've seen
and
just about everything with that.
and they're so nice, just so quiet. You won't hear anything. You say, "Oh, it's like first time." I don't want to do it anyway, sitting there talking back and forth, and they go over to JP's, then they won't shut the hell up talking the whole time.
Right.
That's like, God, I like those. Oh,
So
my.
we were talking about demonic cases a little bit ago, and I was wondering, like, when you're doing cases that are like demonic, I do you get called in for demonic cases and then get there and that's not actually what's going on?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been called into a lot for that.
Hmm.
Most of the time now, like if when I'm called in, most of the time it's already been kind of confirmed, or the team just they believed it was and they wanted to have somebody there that knew a little more.
Hmm.
Um, that most of the time, a couple I've walked into, like the first one was just a freak thing. And I have walked into maybe one other one like that. But yeah, there have been times where I've been called in and it wasn't anything. It was just a team that wasn't sure things were happening that they've
Yeah.
never seen before. And, they
Hmm.
didn't know proper steps or tests to try things.
Who you
What kind
gonna
of
call? Bill Flynn.
what kind of steps and tests do you do to like double check, I guess?
Well, with demons, it also depends on what type of demonology you studied. Like, I was
Mhm.
raised Catholic, so I studied more of the Catholic demonology. So for me, and from my experiences and what I've studied, is that like a spirit is going to react to certain things. You can sage a spirit, you can, things like that. But with a demon, it's very, very different. Some of the first stages of what they do, the infestation, is a lot like a haunting. They might make noises, make things, but they're not going to react the same way. So you have to use any kind of religious provocation is normally the only thing that calls the demon out to get it to react to no. So if you're in there and you think there's something going on and you hear something and somebody just cleanses the house and whatever, that's not going to help a demonic case. But the demon, they're smart. They may not just come out and let you know, but if you think it's something, it's more of a lot of different things with holy water and religious, items and things to see how it reacts. But again, you also need to have somebody who's been involved in it before, because if somebody just goes in, well, I've had that with teams that they think it's something, they go around, they just start throwing holy water around and they're waving crosses. And
Right.
if it was a demon and it was to come out, they would be in a lot of trouble. you know, I mean, I'm not an exorcist. I can't do anything like that, but I know certain things and I know who to call to come and help in those type of situations.
Yeah, so I asked you about the protection you use, and you answered that already. So
Hmm.
And about what? I'm sorry.
the protections you use, I mean,
The-
when you go, like you said, because you do holy or if you have to,
Right,
right?
right. Yeah. I
I
mean, when we go into like a normal home and we think there's something in there, whether it be a ghost or just maybe bad energy in the house, we'll use white sage, we'll use Palo Santo, we'll use singing bowls to cleanse the energy. A lot of different things where with a demonic case, you have to be very careful. If it's just in the infestation or even in the beginning oppression stages, you can bless the home. You can do like a minor rite of exorcism or almost like a deliverance, and you can bless with holy water and things like that. And you have a good chance of possibly getting it out before it starts really bad. To when you need the actual clergy there doing a full on thing.
Mm.
Wow. See that you're a parapsychologist and you're doing your PhD. Um, Parapsychology, paranormal science, and metaphysical, metaphysics science. What are the differences between those?
Well, they're all kind of combined. Like parapsychology is more focused on ESP and everything like that. That was the original things they were studying. They were studying telepathy, and everything like that. So I try to learn as much as possible about everything because you never know what you're going into.
Uh-huh.
Metaphysical humanistic science, it's all about metaphysics. It was something I really knew not much about until I started this course. It's very different. I didn't even understand what this had to do with anything at first. I wouldn't even know how to fully explain it. But once you start learning, you understand how it plays a role into everything. Paranormal science is kind of like a sub thing from parapsychology where it's teaching you more about the investigating as opposed to ESP.
Mhm. Wow. Yeah, I want to ask you. I didn't know, and I
Hmm.
didn't. Know. I figured you clear it up,
Right,
right? Um,
right.
Now, could you suggest where somebody can go to take courses if they want to do that?
Well, I mean, to be an actual like investigator, there's really no course out there. But for things like I would tell people, learn photography, learn, so evidence, learn about equipment, learn metaphysics, a little bit about metaphysics, parapsychology. If you want to take it, there are a lot of courses online. Just be careful, do your research, because a lot of them are not the most
Affiliate, yeah.
credible
Yeah.
places.
Right.
There's
Right.
a few out there that are really, really good. I mean, most of them are all metaphysical colleges. There are some colleges, actual real colleges that you can go in and take parapsychology, but I believe it's a minor off of taking on full psychology.
Mm.
Which is all, and learning psychology is a great thing because let me tell you, one of the biggest things that I teach people and everything is that when you're doing residential investigations, it's very important to know a lot of stuff. If you watching Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters and you want to be a ghost hunter and you want to try it, we encourage that too. That's great, but go out and do public locations and local cemeteries, ghost, tours, things like that to learn. Get on a team and learn from people
Yeah.
before you attempt to go into somebody's home. Because the thing about going into a home is you're not always dealing with, paranormal. You're dealing with mental illness. You're
Yeah.
dealing with addiction. You're dealing with
Yeah.
every type of thing possible. And if you don't know a little bit about it to kind of make maybe a little bit of a distinction, you can harm somebody, besides
Right.
yourself, but you can harm somebody if they have a mental illness or an addiction and you tell them that they're haunted when maybe they're not. You can seriously
Right.
damage them. The sage isn't going to take away their mental illness. So, to learn a
Right.
little bit, yeah, and evidence. People go in, they take photos, they do videos, and a lot of them don't understand everything in the room. They don't understand if there's light coming in, if there's noises from places. You got to be able to really know what's going on with your evidence to before you tell a person that, hey, we saw this in your house, and this is an orb or this is something that people can debunk. You have to
Right.
know how to do that before you go into a person's home. So even learning, taking courses, like when I was first in regular college, I took courses on psychology. I didn't take it all the way through, but I took a lot of courses on psychology, so I can learn a little bit here and there. So just learning anything, grab a book on any book you find on ghost hunting and things like that, because there's always something in it that will give you a little, thing that you never learned before from somebody else.
Right. When I first started off, I always said that if you're interested in it, you can find there's teams all over the place. Just do your due diligence and be sure that it's a reputable team before you decide to actually
Yes.
be go on the case for them. And don't go out and buy hundreds of dollars of equipment. You might go and say, "Oh my God, this is so boring," and you don't want to do it again. Then you're stuck with all this equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, for people who don't know that go out and start doing, investigations, they're watching TV shows, a lot of them. So the
Right.
TV shows are an hour long and it
Mm-hmm.
has, activity going on nonstop. Well, I've been to places for 7, 8, 9 hours with nothing. You
Yep.
have to have a lot of patience in this business because it's not
Yep.
always you walk in and things are flying all around the room. It's not like that.
Right.
And learn about the equipment. Don't
Right.
go buy a piece of equipment and then go, okay, let's go to somebody's house and try this out. Learn
Right.
how it fully works. Learn how it makes false positives. Learn everything about it so that when you get something if it's real or not. It's really important because a lot of people don't realize how some of these devices work,
Right.
because they
And,
see
and,
them on
and
TV.
yeah, there's totally YouTube videos you can find nowadays. And
Yep.
like you said about not learning equipment first, you should always test to begin with before you go. And also, like, for example, the first group I was with, this guy got this awesome piece of equipment. He said, "Oh my God, I can't wait to test that out." And he went to investigation and do it. We're all setting stuff up 2 hours. He's still fiddling with it. So that's 2 hours at that time. Him trying to
Right.
fix it, some other guy trying to help him. Like, we had this place for 6 hours, all right? And you just cut 2 hours off of that. And
Right.
so me and my friend went to the other side, and we started the investigation ourselves, the other side. I'm
Right.
like, I quit that team like a year after that because he was so irresponsible, and he was the founder of the team.
Right.
So me and my friends saw our own team, and we had that team for like 13 years. So, and I go back to like residential cases that we did a good bit of them when we first started off. We were getting
Right.
yeah, at least one a week back then, and then I think once it slowed down a little bit, people are more open to their surroundings and stuff, and think maybe that's not what it is. Maybe actually debunk this first before I call these people out, and And a lot of times you get out there and a door moves and stuff, and it's off level. Only you put there and shut.
Right.
Yeah, it's just weird stuff like that they could figure out themselves. That's why we always had questionnaires and stuff for them, and like just about going to these places, not knowing what you're going into. We had people where you go in there, it smells so bad, pot. It was stunk so bad. We turned left. I couldn't stand the smell. How to get out of there? So walk in there, this guy sitting there, a bomb beside him on table.
Right.
I'm like, no, we're doing. Bye.
The best evidence is never captured, though.
Oh, yeah.
It's always when you're turned the other way, or the camera went off, or the
I'm sure he was seeing something, but yeah, somebody has trying to lace with something. So he was seeing something, I'm sure.
But I will.
And the spirits he was probably doing these kind.
Right.
So
I will say though, when I was talking about things to how to learn in a way, definitely learn about photography. Now, I don't mean to go out there and take a course and learn how to take a picture. If you don't want to do that, I'm not. But read up about photography, understand camera flaws, understand what causes orbs, understand lens flares, understand lighting, because that will help you 100% when it comes to, did I capture something or not?
Yeah.
And learning about photography is really important.
A lot of good books out there for that. When I first started off, that's the first thing I did. I had one of some Leica cameras, the film ones, and I have a big book on photography and different things, and that helped a lot. I mean, so yeah, that's a great idea, and I'm sure you can get you probably get ebooks for $2 online about that. So
yeah, you can even. I'm sure there's YouTube videos too, just teaching you all that stuff. Again though, with YouTube videos that are instructional, same thing as a team. Look for reputable.
Yeah.
Because there's also, I've seen a lot of videos out there that will teach you exactly what not to do.
I should have done with that for our first team. But they're a cool name. So
yeah.
I looked. I don't think they're doing it anymore. Well, I saw with him, he's in his high 60s, so I only ever hear him more doing that, and that was 20 years ago. So he saw it in his early 80s.
A lot of our cases, I was getting a lot of cases for years from people who got another team. They didn't know what they were doing, and they came in and made it worse. Happens a lot. And again, I don't discourage people. I learn how to do this, but definitely look for somebody, at least one person on the team who's been doing it before the TV show started. Right. They'll have a little different understanding of things,
Right.
I'm not saying I know everything. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. I'm just saying we learned in a different way, before the TV shows came out. We learned before a lot of this equipment. People don't know how to do some of the stuff I did back in the day, like hang a bell on a cabinet door, put flour down in places. There's all types of things we had to do because we didn't have all this fun equipment.
I hear you, brother. We did the same thing. All the old stuff, you guys. I mean, it was, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, now I'm a technology guy during the day, so it's tough because I love equipment and I love playing with the equipment. We don't use 90% of the equipment in somebody's home. We use the basics. Right. I don't like bringing in all that. We're not in there to do a show in their house. We use audio, video, more environmental. Stuff for EMF, stuff for temperature, things like that. Because I'm not going to go in there with an SLS camera and tell the people they're haunted because I got a stick figure on the screen. You gotta be careful with certain things.
Yeah, they could pick up kind of objects too.
Yeah.
So and also if you go in places and like we had a case with a kid one time. And that was also another case that did these drugs. And we found out that we were actually do a review because we didn't know about the drugs until we left. We saw something on the table because we didn't smell anything, but we could tell what she was. We thought she was drunk, but we could tell she was
Right.
something else. And we started to go back, and the place was empty. We found out they all went to jail.
Right. Right.
So I'm sure I had to feel that they had issues with, but yeah, because it used to be a restaurant, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and it's converted into an apartment, and they're having problems there. We never found anything really, but I think they just want to get notoriety or something. I don't know, and so and then we had another people call us up or email us about people come in and they check the place out, and then they're back to us. That was 2 months ago. I said, well, that's not right because when we did it, we always said within 2 weeks, we would have most of the stuff back to you to come back for the reveal.
Right.
So, and that's usually how it was. And that's just even when we had jobs then, and we were on and off for that, tearing back and forth. So, and I think what happened then, we just got out of that and we just started doing more known locations and see, we do like 2 or 3 year now.
Mm.
But
You know, like one of the cases I had years and years ago up in New Jersey. It was interesting because this shows an example of how to learn about everything. So the family was very scared. They said that they're seeing ghosts, they're getting headaches, they're getting nauseous, they're all kind of things in the house, mostly in the living room. And they were really scared because they had kids and everybody was getting affected by this. And when we went in, I went in with a team that I was working with at the time, and it didn't really sense anything. I mean, we tried just about everything, and we weren't getting anything. They weren't feeling much at the time, but they were trying to tell us that it's not a specific time of the day, and all of them were experiencing it, which was unusual because a lot of times if it's maybe something psychiatric or something like that, it's usually one person. But the entire family was experiencing this, and I had called up one of my friends that works with electric and everything, and I had him come down with some other meters that I didn't have, and we went down into their basement, and in the basement on the electrical boxes, there was so much EMF energy coming out of there because the wires weren't shielded and
Mm.
and put properly. If you and It was right underneath the living room.
mm-hmm.
So the thing is, people don't realize EMF is very dangerous if it in high amounts. It can cause hallucinations. It can cause
Mm-hmm.
headaches, nausea, everything they were experiencing. Now they had to spend a lot of money to get an electrician in there to basically rewire most of the house. Once they did that, never had a problem again. So
Yeah.
these are the things where if you went in and you didn't know to look for that, like people go in with K2 meters. A
Right.
K2 meter isn't going to do anything
Right.
because it's just going to spike somewhere. It's not going to tell you,
Right.
dangerous levels, of a real thing. Those things are sensitive. They're made for ghost hunting. But if you don't know about something like that and you go in and you hear a family where 5 people are all scared out of their minds and
Mm-hmm.
all saying that they're seeing things and they're getting headaches and they're getting nauseous, you know, and you walk around the house, you're going to believe, if you don't know enough to check things, you're going to believe that's definitely a haunting,
Mm-hmm.
and then again, kind of like an illness, if you go in there and we sage and we use Palo Santo and we use singing bowls and whatever you want to do to cleanse the house, prayers, whatever, it was EMF. It's not going to go away. So the people are
Yeah.
going to get more and more frightened,
Right.
until they find a solution like that. So just always really, a good thing to learn a little bit about everything.
Yes, I've seen another residential case down up in the laundry room. They had a
Mm.
fuse box like that too. And I'm highly susceptible to EMF. I can feel it usually. A couple cases that I had to leave. They went to a reading, and that one trailer we went to one time was for EMF, and I had to leave. I couldn't do justification. I got sick outside. So I don't
Yeah.
know, like people like EM pumps. I'm now one friend. He always teases me with it. I'm like, get the out of here, because I get sick from it. And I'm like, so that's the one thing I can't deal with is EMF.
Mm.
I mean, and that's
I've seen a lot of EMF problems over my about 35 years now, but I have never seen one that was that bad. That was the one case that was it was real bad. And it was dangerous because if they I don't remember how long they were living there, but I think they had moved in not too long before, but the thing is that's dangerous amounts that could have actually done damage to them, you know.
Hmm.
But that's and as much as they had to spend a lot of money and everything, they were extremely happy to hear that's what it was. I tell
Hmm.
people, even though they had to spend thousands of dollars to fix that,
eh,
it's much better than having something demonic or bad in there. You wouldn't want that,
yeah.
you
Yeah, the
know.
water is it's pretty expensive for that shielded twisted pair.
Hmm.
You know ours.
You want to see now, if you want to see an interesting thing that's believed to be on the demonic side, is the show I'm on right now on Discovery Plus. It's the new shock doc called The Devil's Academy.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
saw it.
Did you see it?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a, it's a great episode. It's a whole thing they did about an event that happened in Miami in 1979. They believe it was a full possession of a school. And some people will say it was definitely a possession. Some people will say it was the kids that were being oppressed because it was like a military academy where they
Mm,
were being abused and all type of stuff, and they were teaching them Ouija boards and tarot cards and Santeria and hypnosis and
mm,
everything you could think of in there. But and some people believe that the kids just lashed out one day and couldn't take it anymore. But the problem is some of the accounts they have about the one kid jumping out of the second floor. He went right through the second floor window,
yeah,
landed like face first on the concrete, and got up.
yeah,
And they didn't have a scratch on him. And the security guard came over and he picked him up, threw him across the room. So that's definitely not
yeah,
oppressed. That's definitely a little more. And the reports of the one girl who was under hypnosis that, or they were trying to put her under, and she ran off and she went in the
mhm,
bathroom and she was saying that the devil was in her. And then they said she just lifted right off the ground. So I mean, that's something a little different. I wish we had footage
yeah,
of that to see it.
yeah.
But
It's good. Like I think with one of the teachers, wasn't it a woman who
mm,
was one of the teachers who was doing the um
so
teach them the Ouija board and
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And they were just showing them, and they weren't explaining to them how
right,
to do it properly, what
right,
could happen. They were just, and they believed that the person running, the guy running it was
mm,
doing the dark side of Santeria. So
mm-hmm,
nobody really knows full details, but some of the people on that show where I believe it was the fire chief that responded to this. I think it was the former police chief, maybe, or somebody.
yeah,
They had some really people that were there on site. So it's a really interesting story. They
yeah,
of course they made it like a little mini horror movie, like
yeah.
a reenactment type of thing. But it was really cool.
Yeah, that's on. I saw it on Discovery Plus. I think it
Yep.
was something else.
Yeah, it's one of the Travel Channel shock docs, but it
Hmm.
streams on Discovery Plus. So
Yeah,
sometimes they'll play it on and off on the travel.
yeah, it's good. I like it.
Mm.
I think
All those shock docs are great.
yeah, I like to see more of those.
Yeah,
So, I mean, are you gonna be any more?
I don't know. I waiting to see. I have a few things in the works. We'll have to see. If you didn't see the one on Robert the Doll, watch that one.
Okay, I
That
might,
one's really really good.
I might saw Alfred again. I might have saw that one, Robert. Though I know they made a movie kind of like that.
Yeah.
It
Well,
was,
I mean,
was it called Robert? The movie?
they did
I
make.
forget.
Yeah, I think they did make one or two little like horror movies that were based on
Yeah.
Robert the doll. Yeah, I think it was called
Yeah.
Robert.
Robert. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that. The girl came to take care of Robert while they were waiting. She like, it's a
Right.
doll. What the hell?
But the real
But
one's down here in Key
it's
West.
yes, it's inside a a box, right, or a glass
Yeah,
case.
it's a big glass case
Big
down in
case.
Fort Matello
Yeah.
fort down in Key West. It's something to see.
Yeah.
If you I don't know, do you know
Is that owned by Mike Diamond?
the what?
Is that doll owned by Mike Diamond, or am I thinking?
No.
Now I'm thinking the old. Oh,
Which one? There's a few of them.
the old marionette or whatever puppet. That's
Oh,
I
the
think
marionette
of it.
puppet?
Man, what's in there? I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, I know what you're talking about. No, it's not that one.
Yeah, I'm the Mike Diamond that one. So
But the whole thing with Robert in Key West is the myth behind him is that you have to be, if you go see him, you have to be respectful and you have to ask permission to take his photo. If you don't, bad things can happen to you. That's the myth behind it. And the place used to be littered with thousands and thousands of letters from people who went there, took it as a joke, took pictures, weren't respectful, left, and then started having problems. And they were writing handwritten letters to Robert begging for his forgiveness. Now I think they have a digital on the screen, but when I used to go there years ago, they had these letters that were just the whole room was just covered in letters.
wow.
And every time I go somewhere and talk about it, like at a convention or a lecture, somebody usually has a story about it. I was just there last week and this happened, and so I don't know. I mean, I don't test that. I ask permission. I'm respectful. I've seen them many times.
Wow, I wouldn't mind going to see him. Where do you say he was?
In Key West, Florida.
Okay, all right. I thought
Yeah.
you said Key West. Okay.
Ozzy Osbourne believes that he had a lot of problems due to going and seeing that doll.
Oh, he had problems before that, I'm sure.
Yeah, he had a lot of problems to begin with, but now he thought a lot of stuff was because of that doll. And then I think he did something crazy on an episode of the show or something, like he took one of the little mini dolls like I have in the back there and he blew it up or something. I don't think that was going to help.
Yeah. I think I should have lasted along with him and his family.
Yeah. Well, now his son Jack does the paranormal one.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I see it. Yeah. He's still
I
doing
think,
it.
yeah, I think they were down there to see Robert. I think that's how that all started.
Mm. Yeah. I think he used to be on Haunted Highway. I think.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
think he was. With
Yeah, Portals to
that one
Hell.
girl.
Portals to Hell was Jack Osbourne.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
of course, hell. That's pretty good. I don't watch much shows anymore. I'll go on it once in a while to remind me of it. I watched Dead Files for a long while.
Yeah.
But anyway, and Steve
Right.
Saleh. Oh, yes, that was very cool. I think they're still on.
There's so many out there now.
Yeah. Yeah, like when they first started off, I was already in the paranormal, whatever, when the Ghost Hunters came out. But when they started, like the second year, I started watching them because everything was out, and they were pretty good at first. And then down the road, they found some things that weren't added up on some of the shows, and I kind of tried to go to a couple of different other ones, and I didn't care for. And it was a while. I didn't want to sit and watch it for a while.
Right. Well,
But I think a lot of it with that background music playing and stuff, it's like, God, I don't need that dramatic crap. It's just
right. Well, I'll tell you the best thing about the shows, in my opinion, for the industry. There's good and bad. For me, the one good thing was that they brought the paranormal out into the mainstream.
yes. Yeah.
They made it be able to talk about it, to not be, people contact us now. It's easier for them to contact us. They don't feel as as scared to contact somebody, where back in the day they they weren't going to contact you because you thought you'd lock them up. So it did bring them. Hey, well, you get locked up a lot quicker than them for believing them. So, but it brought it out into the forefront of everything, and people talk about it now. But now it's so far out there that people don't know what's real, what's not, what's enhanced, what's made up. People could do so many things now with audio and video. Well, not so much with audio,
Yeah.
but video, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
TikTok videos and everything. It's like, I talk about that a little bit, and some of them, there's some that maybe could be real, but for the most part on TikTok, you're not going to find many that are real, unless they're posted by an investigator. But people, I tell everybody, how you'll know it's fake is if you have some guy standing there with his camera going, look at this, and his doors opening and closing and opening and closing. And no, he would be running so fast out of that house.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, there's no way he would be picking up a phone and just filming it and
Right.
going live or whatever. No, no, no. He'd be running.
Or there's a lot of YouTube shows that show those kind of stuff. I'm like, there's somebody pulled a string somewhere, or somebody pushes out from the top, and you never see off screen or in the other room or anything. It's just that ruins it for all of us.
It does. I say the hardest thing for me doing residential cases is convincing clients that they're not haunted. It's
Right.
hard. A lot of
Yeah.
them, some of them may be pushing it on that, like they don't want to admit they have another problem, but some of them just want to be haunted. I mean, there's so many people out there that watch these shows, and just like if you go on Facebook onto these groups I'm in, people want so bad to capture something that either they're going to believe whatever they hear, or they're going to make stuff up. You know,
Mhm.
People just somebody with the slightest bit of editing skills can do something pretty amazing, but somebody who knows what they're doing, they can fool a lot of people.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, I see a lot in the panels shaking my head that even if you try real hard, this still
Mhm.
looks like shit. It doesn't look anything like. You can tell if stars you look off screen, see a hand push something out or something. It's a really stupid stuff. Like, why would you put it up there? That's just it makes your team look horrible. I think one team a few years ago um, kicked out a member from their team for posting false evidence on their site. They apologized to everybody and said, he's gone and that kind of stuff. So I mean,
Yeah.
I found some of my team be doing that too. But and
Ye-
you're gonna walk them.
yeah. No, my team is, I have such a great team of people. Every one of them was handpicked by me because
Mhm.
either I knew a lot about them, I knew what they were about. To me, it doesn't matter if you have 1 day of experience or 20 years of experience. For what we do for residentials, I can teach you how to investigate, but I can't teach you how to be a human. I can't teach you how
Right,
to know how to handle clients and how to be respectful
right.
and empathetic to them, and that's the most important part, and what your passion is, because we go out there and we're helping people and we're not getting paid.
Mhm.
Everybody's a
Mhm.
volunteer. We don't charge a penny for investigations. So
Yeah.
it's something that the people, I've had people call me up and actually say, hey, I saw your team, I'm interested. What does it pay?
Yeah.
you know, it's not. That's not what it's about.
We all. We never started. Right?
Yeah.
But
So
I
it's
think we have a starter here back in Ohio. Started a group out here as Ghostly Gateway Paranormal
mm,
Investigations, and I brought Mel on a year and a half ago, I guess now. And we are question investigations, mainly the Fire Museum, I think was.
right.
And what of them do we do?
We did Post Town
Post
and
Town,
then we've
yeah,
done the museum twice.
MC twice, yeah, and Yeah, that museum. I thought about you got here to the museum. You always disappointed because we get a lot of stuff out of there. So
We we had the greatest place for a while, and then they leveled it last year, which really
oh
Mm.
upset me. It was a 260-acre abandoned prison in the
oh
middle
yeah.
of
Oh my
the
god.
sugarcane fields in
Oh,
Belglade, Florida. It was, it was such a great place. It had so much activity. The chapel and the medical facility, always something. And I love that you're on this huge property with no electric, no power, and like I said, in the middle of sugarcane fields. There's not a lot of things going on around there, so when your devices go off in there, and a public thing, we're going to play around with a lot of stuff. When your
yeah.
devices go off in a facility like that, it's so much. We get a lot of intelligent responses and
Mhm.
things there, and it was such a great place. You had to be careful. I was more scared of the living there. You had to be careful because there's a lot of gangs in Belglade, and
Oh yeah.
it's a great place to hide out there because nobody's coming on that property. Um,
If
but
someone doing gang fights,
yeah, the, I
be in
the,
trouble.
the place was scary during the day.
Oh yeah.
Uh, I used to joke. I said when I brought on some of my new team members, it was right before COVID hit, and the first thing I did was I took them out to the prison to see how they do in a prison at midnight with no lights, and they did good, but some people might not be able to handle that. It might be a little too much,
Uh,
but it was a great training place. It was a great place to research because you could really spend time playing with your equipment and seeing what goes off, seeing what doesn't go off, why it was, where we were. It was a really great place. But problem is, people came in and started messing with it. They burnt the
yeah.
church down. They
Okay.
burnt another building down. I think the city had enough, and they finally leveled the whole
Oh
place. But
yeah.
they're building some kind of factory on the property, and what they don't realize is you level the building, whatever's there doesn't go away.
Yeah.
So
It's with the land, so you're screwed.
yeah, I'd like to go to the factory and just leave my card and be like, "You may need this. We know for a fact you may need this."
Who are you, Hall? Oh my, yeah. The people realize that the land is usually haunted too.
Mm.
Yeah, so they might be in trouble. So we'll
Yep.
see. We'll see.
Yep.
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about the Warren.
Warren Foundation. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So the Warren Legacy Foundation was created by Chris McKennell, who's the grandson of Ed and Lorraine Warren. He was investigating with them since I think he was 15 or 16. And what the foundation, it was created by Chris and Lorraine before she passed away to help carry on the legacy of the Warrens for helping people. So it bridges people all across the world. Very vetted, seasoned investigators with a lot of different skills that can help people all across the world. So I think there's about around 100 members now. We don't let everybody on. Some people just may not have enough experience for what we're doing because we're not there to fully train people, but we do get cases that maybe you need to have a little more knowledge, except doing one or two residentials, so that we could throw you right in. But we have so many people that have so many different skill sets that no matter what the case is, we have people that can help and take care of it. So it's a really great foundation, and again, same thing. We don't charge, we don't do anything. It's all 100% to help people, and you're going to get the best of the best helping you. We have They have people in just about every state, all across the country, and Europe and New Zealand and Australia and all over the place.
Wow. So if somebody would be interested in it, can they go to that site?
Yeah, if you go to warrenlegacy.com, you could fill out the form for a request for help.
Okay. Okay. So, So you're probably all 50 states, probably.
Yeah, we cover everything. There's like I'm the regional director for the Southeast U.S., so I cover
Okay.
every state from West Virginia down to Florida.
Okay.
So we have regional directors in different areas that cover portions, the West Coast, the Northeast. So everybody has a section, and then we have. I don't know how many right now I have, but I want to say I have about 25 or so members in our region.
Oh,
So we
wow.
have people,
That's
in
pretty good.
Florida, in Georgia, and I think West Virginia, and so we have people all over. We do a lot by Zoom, and then if we feel the need, we have to go there. We'll figure out who can go there, who's closest, but we have people all over the place.
Yeah, I saw Slevin out there today. I was wondering
Mm.
how you did that. I remember you saying that you were director for Southeast,
Yep.
and I figured you have regional directors all around there.
Mm-hmm.
But serious. Wow. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I don't have any more questions for you. Do you want to give any places you're already going to, or any kind of like conventions, or any kind of any books coming out, or
Oh, stuff coming up.
not now? You're just in the American Paranormal Magazine, the cover. Is that
Yeah,
March? March?
it was for March. Yeah. It
Yeah.
was. They were so great. I
Yeah,
have. I think.
I love them. They're
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
they did a 5-page story on me and a little bit about the team, a little bit about the Warrens. They were really, really nice. I was, very thankful for that.
All right.
I
Yeah,
want to get more. I want to definitely get more places out of Florida. We've been, but between day jobs and residential cases and things here, it's hard to get out a lot. We get called in so many conventions, and we do libraries and all kind of stuff.
all
So
right.
we're so busy all the time. But we're
All right.
planning some big trips. I want to get out, to go see Waverly Hills Sanatorium and Bobby Mackey's and some of the places that are on my bucket list.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we got them too.
Yeah.
My pockets are fun, so I gotta get to work. So yeah, so, like we were thinking about doing a place out here because a Thursday is cheaper. I don't know if you're ever need something for that, but
Mm.
the Friday it's cheaper, and you need two people on Thursday.
Okay.
Fridays you need 5 to 8, and I think for two people it's $70 for two people for a Thursday to a
Oh,
Friday morning.
that's
That's
not bad.
not bad, Yeah,
No, that's not bad at all.
whole place yourself. So
Right.
that's one of the places I want to try to get to because that's right down the road an hour for me.
Right.
So I mean
Well,
that's not that far from me.
the good thing about Florida is we have St. Augustine
Mm-hmm.
and Key West.
Ah.
St. Augustine is, I mean, you just go to any bar there and it's haunted. Everything in St. Augustine is great. So there's so much stuff up there.
Yeah.
And same thing with Key West. And, there's other places along the way and, a lot of unknown places. But yeah, St. Augustine, I love going up there. I try to get up there every year, at least once a year. And it's just a beautiful town in itself. But if
Yeah.
you want to go ghost hunting at all, there's everything up there.
I would love to do the lighthouse, but I would never make it up there. Unless they put an elevator and we all know out.
The old jail is great.
Oh, Joe, yeah.
The Castillo de San Marcos Fort is great. I actually captured something pretty cool on film way back. God, it must have been like 15 years ago, 16 years ago, something like that. I captured something, but that photo is what got me on an episode of Ghost Asylum because they were doing an episode up there and they saw what I had online and they had me come up and talk about it. The fort is a great place.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I'd love to go
yeah,
get down there.
lot of good stuff out here too. We just have to get out now. It's nice. We're like start heading to the cemeteries.
Mm,
Uh,
yeah.
We got a lot of here. And I made a cemetery app that we
Right.
can use, so I can get ways to use that.
Yeah.
Wow. It's great having you on, Phil. We'll definitely get you
Thank
on
you.
again.
Yeah,
Look
definitely.
for
Anytime. Thank you for
yeah.
having me.
Yep. We're gonna take a little break in June, but we'll be back probably sometime maybe early August, late July, early August.
Okay.
Because that's like I said, stuff to do and going on vacation and stuff.
Right.
And it's hard to give Melanie a break. I've been busting her butt, for she was poor thing was sick for the last couple of weeks and got her own night, so it's happy to have her own night.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
have
glad to be back. It was awesome to meet you, Bill.
yeah, you too.
Sorry, I think I interrupted you there. You have what?
No, I was just gonna say I have there's one event I have that's already I know it's booked. It's in Orlando in
Mm.
August, no, September 15th to the 17th. It's the Phantasm Horror Convention. I'm gonna
I
be
heard that. Fantastic. Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be good this year. I'm there as a guest. I also will have Chris McKennell will be there,
Oh,
and
cool.
Joe Frankie, who worked with the Warrens for like 40 years.
Oh,
So
yeah.
both
Yeah.
of them will be there. We'll be doing a lot of panels. They'll be doing panels. Chris does stuff talking about the real stories behind the Conjuring movies and all those things. So it's a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think this weekend they're having it's an energy fair. It's gonna be there this weekend, so I get a chance
Oh
to
yeah.
meet her. That'd be cool.
Mm.
Cool. So all right. So next time, everybody. Thanks, Bill. Give him coming
Thank
Thanks,
you.
on,
Bill.
and
Thank you very much.
have a horning, everybody.